Welcome to a commentary channel. My name is Jem, Jem, a psychic medium, an author of over 20 books available from Amazon, a truth seeker and a channeler. And this video that I'm going to do, introduction to the Baha'i faith, basics and structure, just to let you know that in my 30s I was a Baha'i, and then temporarily for about 2 years in my 60s, but I'm no longer part of the Baha'i faith. But many of you may have heard of it and want to know, what is the Baha'i faith? So it's a unique and relatively young religion that has some fascinating beliefs and an unusual leadership structure. Now, before I go on, Baha'is don't come knocking at your door and pushing scripture at you. If you actually want to be a Baha'i, it's on you to do the work. It's on you to do the spiritual research. So let's look at part 1, origins. The Baha'i faith began in 19th century Persia, which is modern day Iran, with a beloved figure known as the Bab. The Bab, who was a messenger heralding the coming of a new prophet. The Bab actually said there were twin prophets and he was the first. Shortly after, Baha'u'llah emerged as the central figure of the faith and its founder. The Bab is considered the forerunner, and Baha'u'llah is regarded as the promised messenger. So part 2, core beliefs. Unity of humanity. All people are part of one human family. Unity of religion. All major religions come from the same divine source. We were actually taught that the Bab and Baha'u'llah were messengers for this time. In other words, when Christ came as a prophet, he was a messenger for that time, and Muhammad was a messenger for his time, and so forth with Krishna. So to be a Baha'i, you have to accept all religions were prophets. It also core belief equality of men and women, and the harmony of science and religion. Another core belief is universal education and peace. Part 3, unique characteristics. The Baha'i faith has no clergy or priests, or a mosque, or a temple, or a church. There are no denominations or splits. This is unusual compared to many religions. Leadership is maintained by elected councils. The Universal House of Justice is the highest governing body. Importantly, individuals cannot campaign or promote themselves for leadership positions. The community members instead elect representatives to serve. So part 4, the leadership structure. At the local level, we have local spiritual assemblies which govern the communities. At the national level, we have the national spiritual assemblies which oversee larger regions. The Universal House of Justice is in Haifa, Israel, and it provides global leadership and guidance. Now, before I close, when I was a Baha'i in my late 30s, I went to Canberra and I helped with the opening of the Baha'i. So there is a temple, but what I said earlier, you local Baha'is don't go to a mosque or a church or a temple, but there is a Baha'i temple for the national part of Australia, and it's in Canberra. So it's a national temple, but locally you don't go to church or temple. And at this National Baha'i Centre in Canberra at Woden Creek, I helped opening with it. I was in contact with ambassadors and embassies, inviting them to come to the opening of the Baha'i temple in Canberra. So, closing, the Baha'i faith emphasis is on unity and service, combined with a unique democratic leadership, and this is all that sets it apart. If you're interested, look up the Baha'i faith. Again, let me put it to you that the Baha'i faith also, according to I think it was the Collins Encyclopedia, was the last recognized religion. And there was at the time, very interestingly, in the United States, there was a Christian sect that predicted Christ's second coming, and it just so happened to coincide with when the Bab was born and later Baha'u'llah. And the Bab, the story goes that he was imprisoned, and in prison he was executed. But when they first tried to execute him, he didn't die, he disappeared. When they secondly tried to execute him, he was killed. Baha'u'llah spent most of his time in jail, and he then passed the religion down to his son, and then later grandson, Shofi Effendi, and then later it became the Universal House of Justice. So there are no denominations. You don't get a knock at your door. What I'm saying is you don't get a person trying to push, like, you know how Christians will try to push Christianity on you. If you want to be a Baha'i, you have to do the own spiritual research into becoming a Baha'i. You can't, it doesn't get thrown at you. And you also have to make yourself, when I was a Baha'i, I had to accept the Quran, I had to accept, as I said, Buddhists, that everything was there for at the level that the people were. So when Bab and Baha'u'llah came, it was because we were in a new technological age, and the Baha'i faith believes that when we next advance to the next stage, there will be another new prophet or prophets. Okay, thank you for watching. Take care of each other and of yourselves. Love, light, and blessings. Bye.